What's up, everybody? Russell again. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because every day I produce some content to do with stock alert services, reviewing them, telling you which ones have worked for me, which ones haven't, trying to introduce you to some of the latest and greatest stock alerts and option alert services out there. So today I'm going to talk about the Motley Fool, and if you haven't heard about the Motley Fool, I'd be really surprised. It's like one of the most popular long-term investment services that have been around for like the longest possible time ever. So these guys are the Motley Fool. You can go and check them out here. Weirdly, it's not called the motleyfool.com, it's called fool.com. So I always go into type Motley Fool. But in this video, I'm going to tell you about the two main services that they run that I'm a member of and I've had some huge success with, and show you some of the other services that I haven't joined yet but look pretty awesome. So let's get started. So, Stock Advisor and Rule Breaker, these two, so Rule Breakers and Stock Advisor, are the flagship services for the Motley Fool. So this is run by a pair of brothers called David and Tom Gardner, and they produce these services for $199 each a year, which is an absolute bargain. And actually, they run deals quite often where you'll get them for like $99. I think I might have even got them for $49 a year each, so 100 total. So it's an absolute bargain. It's probably the single best investment decision you could make, in my opinion, if you are buying and holding. And the reason for that is their returns are massive. So this is 582% just from buying and holding these paid recommendations. They also do a bunch of free recommendations, but those barely outperform the S&P 500. The paid ones vastly outperform the S&P 500. And I've gone and checked through this, and you can check through it on their site, but it seems to be pretty true and pretty accurate. So let me tell you a little bit about Stock Advisor first. So Stock Advisor sends out 2 picks a month. They send them out via email. They update their website, which I'm going to log in and show you where they do that. And they also send out text messages for the stocks that they buy. They give a little report on the website, basically saying why, and I'll show you a couple of examples of those. And the idea is you basically buy and hold these things for years, and they have a really good success record of these stocks going up over the time that you're holding them. So the Stock Advisor service does two picks on a Thursday, so it's every other Thursday, and they also do these Best Buy Nows, which I've never actually even looked at. I only focus on the two main stock picks that they choose each month. So that's the Stock Advisor. Rule Breakers is very similar. So they do two new stock picks a month each. It's a little more expensive. Not really sure why, because I wouldn't say it's quite as good. Let me see. Interesting. So, not sure why it's $299 a year. I think I paid like $49.99 or something for it. So it must have been a special. But anyway, so on the two Thursdays that aren't taken up by the Stock Advisor picks, the Rule Breaker guys release a pick on each Thursday in between, if that makes sense. So they have a weird schedule. Let me show you on the article that I wrote. So I'm signed up for both of them. Here we go. So the first Thursday is Stock Advisors, the next Thursday is Rule Breakers, and so on. Yeah, I think that's a typo. I need to change this. Anyway, moving on. The stocks come out at the fixed time. So the Stock Advisor is always at 12 Central and 10 a.m. Central, or 1 p.m. Eastern and 11 Eastern. So that makes it really convenient, especially for the technique that I've been using to make money on these things, which I'll show you in a little bit. But that's the basics between their two flagship services, the Rule Breakers and the Stock Advisor services. They're the lowest cost, I think, and they're also just fantastic long-term investments if you have the patience. So you can see this. And this isn't fake, I've seen these stocks do this. I've been a member for a year now. It's clearly a legitimate service. So here's a bundle they do. I haven't tried that, but could well be worth that. I think if you are putting more than a few $1,000s into each pick, this will pay off so quickly it'd be ridiculous. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with the Motley Fool in any way, so everybody always accuses me of being paid by these companies, and it's just not true. So just thought I'd throw that in there. So they have a whole bunch. Like, I don't think people realize just how many stock services these guys have. So they have this Discovery series where they basically focus on all these different types of stocks and things. So you can go and check them out. But like, they have retirement ones, ones that are focused on technology. And they're all quite expensive, $2,000 a year. That one's $14,000. What is that, lifetime? Let's see. I know it's for everything. Yeah, $14,000 a year. So, yeah, so they have all these different ones. I think they had a cannabis one somewhere. There's options, $1,000 a year, $3,000 a year, Supernova. So many people have services called Supernova. There's Tim Sykes, Jeff Williams. Um, it's just crazy. It's just such a cool name, right? So trade forex stuff. It looks like. Yeah. So browse through his website if you're interested. These guys, David Gardner and his brother, are just fantastic investors. So you can't go wrong with any of these services from my experience. So let's log in and take a bit of a closer look at what these guys have to offer in their premium. So log in. They're not popping up. Log in. There we go. So signing in, like I said, I've been a member of Stock Advisor and Rule Breakers for a year, and I've made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from these guys. And let me show you. So Stock Advisor. So inside here, you can go to your services. So these are the two that I have. Look at Stock Advisor first. So the website's a little clunky. Here's some of the recommendations recently. Find the next great stock below. These are the stocks to buy. So these are the ones that I don't really pay any attention to. They come out, I think, every Thursday as well. Um, I'll show you the where I usually go in here. So on the news and updates. So if we look in buy recommendations, so these are where the Thursday ones come out. So we can just test one if you want. So I haven't been playing them recently. This was last week's though. Shall we just look at this one, TTC? So here is the report that they put out on their website. Hopefully it loads. Their website's pretty bad at times. It can be really slow. So here is by the Toro Company. So it's a spring has sprung. Lawn mowing season has begun. Okay. There's a good chance you can picture, blah, blah, blah. The big picture opportunity. Less a quarter of a billion. Bulk professional. Anyway, you get the idea. They give you this big spiel about why this thing is going to grow over the next few years. This was 2 weeks ago. Let's see if it's had any positive movement at all. It looks like, actually, according to this, that it's down. So let me just have a check. Oh, TTC. So we go to stockcharts.com, look at the daily chart. This thing came out on April 15th. Yeah, so April 15th. I'll set this to 1 month. So you can see if you had bought the day after April 15th. Okay, so April 15th, look at this. So the alert came out on this day, rode it up into the close, and then look at this huge gap up. So, wow, I've actually never seen one so awesome as this. Jumping up 10% the next day. So you'd be immediately in the green, which would be awesome. So it's just one random example. I've traded quite a few of these. By the way, Rule Breakers is a similar idea. So you go in here, Rule Breakers. Here's the performance of all the recommendations, 339%. We go to the News and Updates tab. We go to Buy Recommendations. And here was a pick from, I think, April 22nd. Okay, well, let's look at that one really quick. CPNG. So CPNG, April 22nd, on a month. Yeah, so this one looks like it would be down. Yeah, you'd be a little down most likely on this one. Um, so what I've noticed that Rule Breakers doesn't have the same massive volume that comes in and drives the price up from all the subscribers. Stock Advisors is the most popular of these services, so it tends to get the biggest price movement when a recommendation comes out. So over the last year, I have scalped on the recommendation a lot of these different alerts. So I never buy and hold. I probably should, and I know a lot of people have made a lot of money doing that. A couple of my friends swear that if you buy a few weeks after the initial Motley Fool alert and then just hold it, 20, 30, 40% within 6 months or something, so it's probably best not to scalp it, but I got into the habit of scalping it with quite large position sizes on the day of the alert, like within a minute of the alert coming out. And I had some good success doing that. I'll just show you a quick example if I have the pictures up. Um, for example, this is the 1 minute chart on BL, which was alerted by stock advisors last year. And you can see that if you can buy in, at the alert, you get this huge volume of buyers pushing the price up, and you can ride up the price only for a few percent. But if you go in with a really large position, for me, that's $100 to $200,000 is a large position. So I would do that and buy in and sell for a few percent or a few $1,000s within a few minutes. And that was very, very, very lucrative for a while. It's much harder to do now because the website was what I was using to get in these things, and now it lags, and it's hard to be sure that you're not buying at the top of a move. So I've been holding off on that this year, but I'm hoping to start testing that again and go back to that style of trading. So if you're looking for something easy to do, this is another one, JD. This one actually had a bit of a longer run up, so the alert would come out here, you'd be able to run it up here, or you could wait for a pullback and buy in into this. So there's loads of different ways to play it. Kind of crazy that you can scalp a long-term play with a huge position and actually make more in a few minutes than you would if you tied up that money for a year with a much smaller position, of course. So yeah, so that's something I've been doing with the Motley Fool and Rule Breakers. These are the founders, Tom and David Gardner. So they have a great reputation. So they've been doing this since the 90s, which is a lot longer than I've been trading. It's I think it's a fantastic service. So here's some of their results. I'll leave a link to this article in the description below so that you guys can go and check out some of these trades and things. Just looking down. Um, yeah, so basically the conclusion is for Motley Fool Stock Advisor, given the low cost, it's a no-brainer. Even if you just buy one stock for, say, $5,000 and you get 10%, it's $500. You can usually get Stock Advisor on sale for $100 a year. So, I mean, it's a complete no-brainer, in my opinion. The rule breakers. So Stock Advisor is good for scalping the alert as well. Rule breakers not so much, but rule breakers performance is pretty good as well. So you can do the same with that. I really like it. I think these are some of the best services out there for long-term and short-term traders. So that's basically all I have to say about the Motley Fool. I think it's a fantastic service. I don't know how many 1,000% return on investment I've had on my initial investment of $100 into these services. I would have to sit down and calculate it, but it's ridiculous. To give you kind of an example, from scalping it with a large position size, it was fairly regular for me to make somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 within 5 minutes every Thursday, which is an absolutely insane return. So of course I really like these services. I'm not advocating that approach. It takes a bit of timing, it takes a bit of guts and skill a little bit. It's pretty scary sometimes, It's much better to follow their recommendation where they've done their fundamental research and buy and hold these stocks for years. You'll get a much more passive return doing it that way. So I think that's all I wanted to show you about the Motley Fool. I think if you have had any experience with this service, if you could leave a comment below so that others can see and we can try and make sure that it's not just me recommending things here, that we can try and get some people commenting and saying, what their experience is. With all these services, there's so many, polar opposites. Some people say, oh, stock advisors and rule breakers are just, it's a scam, and then others will say it's like the best thing ever. And I'm in that latter group where it's just an amazing service. I will be a member for life, most likely. Here's some of their other picks. Anyway, enough of me rambling on. I will catch up with you in the next video, and good luck trading until we speak again. Cheers.